Welcome, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It is day 56 of the tip of the day. I was actually not going to record today, but then I was like, since I had left day 54 with a question, right, regarding, I mentioned sacred contracts, and then something about Carolyn Mace's chapter 1 or session on the audio book. It is like session 1. So I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into that, right? And I was just listening to Danica Patrick interview Matthias De Stefano, and she was saying something about her psilocybin journey, that when she went into like 2 hours of alpha state, even she felt that she couldn't bring all the information that she was exposed to. And that again triggers the same what Sadhguru said about karma, right? That we cannot download the whole warehouse. We don't have the capacity. Like our body does not have that capacity to handle that much energy. Because just imagine, like if you talk about karmic energy or archetypal energy, it's just source energy, and how much of it can be handled at one time. So that's why it happens in chunks. And there was some numbers Carolyn Mace mentioned. I quite didn't understand the context of it. If anybody has suggestions about it or insights, then please feel free to write in the comments in the YouTube video or in the Facebook Live about why 12. But you know, the amazing factor was, so it was almost like 12 of them are predominant in us. Like she said, all of us have the victim archetype, the saboteur archetype, the child archetype, and the prostitute archetype. So the most interesting thing, and this is again, because my main, like the heart's wish is that everyone heal their wounds, heal their trauma, so that y'all can spiritually evolve, right? And this gives you the freedom once you understand this. So I know April has, who's part of our Facebook Live Q&A panel. She has explained this quite a bit during the Facebook Live. But I'll tell you, paraphrasing, I don't remember exactly word to word what Carolyn Mace said in this book, Sacred Contracts. But in what is called session 1 of the audiobook, what she says is, I'm going to paraphrase this. So like what I realize is this happens actually during our life review, like when the spirit leaves the body, because Dr. Eben Alexander talks about it and Anita Murjani. So anybody that has had a near-death experience will talk about, as we leave our body, the spirit leaves the body, there's a life review, right? So what Carolyn Mace says is, imagine yourself, let me take you up into the non-physical, right? Climb up the stairs and go to the penthouse of the building, or go to the non-physical. And what happens in there is you have a group of guides, right? And when you have a group of guides, the group of guides will tell this, it's telepathic, right? Tell your soul, what is the lesson that you want to learn? What is the next evolution for you in your soul's journey, right? And she used the example of Anne Sullivan, who was Helen Keller's teacher. Helen Keller was somebody who was blind and deaf, and she may have been mute as well, and did a lot for humanity, right? So what she says is, imagine if you were Helen Keller. So the guides will say, okay, you need to do this good in this world, right? So for that, you need some archetypes. Like you may need the victimized archetype because you're blind and deaf. You may need this archetype. So the archetype, she says, is almost like, those cookie molds that are shallow, like they're through, right? They're just a mold. So you get like a stencil. She uses the word stencil, like a stencil of an archetype. Like you would get the child archetype or the victim archetype, the saboteur archetype. Like in my case, it was the hedonist archetype. And right now it's the hermit archetype, right? I'm very harmony kind of person. So you get those archetypes. So in Helen Keller's lesson or sacred contract will be, okay, you need these archetypes. And so what will happen is there are these loving soul family, this loving souls around you. And what they say is, now what you need is because you're blind, in Helen Keller, blind, deaf, and blind and deaf, you need a teacher that will actually show you how to overcome blindness. So one soul would say, okay, I will take birth before you. And that this is Anne Sullivan, who's Helen Keller's teacher. And I will meet you at so-and-so date, whether it's 20, like if you have a partner, maybe at 27, 28, I'll meet you at that time. So that soul will take out of their love, out of their unconditional love, right? So when you're in the non-physical, you are experiencing that infinite love that we experience when we are in meditation, like we are in fifth dimension, in the quantum, as Dr. Joe says, right? So when we are in the quantum, all we are experiencing is that brain and heart coherence, and 5D experiences like that, and we are experiencing that love. So now you're experiencing that love there, and out of the love, they say, I'll take birth before you and I'll be your teacher. So, and then she also said something about Anne Sullivan had to go through blindness and the wounded child, like the trials and tribulations, how to overcome blindness because she was blind, and then be the teacher for Helen Keller, right? So look at that soul taking up that lesson for herself, right? So, and then these two souls are born and they live out their archetypes. So with this, I would strongly recommend that people who have like the strong resentment, right? The past few tip of the day is about father or mother. If you have a strong resentment towards your father and mother, or anybody, like all your trials and tribulations, all the violations that happen, all the trauma that happen, there is a lesson in there, right? There is a lesson in there for you to learn, and it is part of your soul contract. This is what April says as well, and this is part of what Carolyn Myss says. It's part of your sacred contract to actually experience that experience. Right? How are you going to evolve? How are you going to learn the lesson of forgiveness? How are you going to learn the lesson of, let's say, like if I look at myself, like my lessons so far, in all the years that I've done this, decade or more of spiritual practice, what I have come to realize, like this inner knowing, that the lessons are lessons of forgiveness, gratitude, surrender. It's just these three lessons. If you look at any situation, right? Like let's say I went through a financial loss. At that point in time, it was constant surrender, like surrender to, okay, now I need to sell my house, surrender to, okay, now I need to move to an apartment, surrender to, oh, am I going to get, I'm running out of money. Am I going to get money, like enough money, or do I need to borrow from somebody? Surrender to that, right? And it so happens is when you surrender, I understood Eckhart's lesson of the meaning of surrender, the chapter 10, during that financial crisis in year 2012. Because, you know, you don't know when you're selling a house, when is it going to sell? And you needed to sell exactly when your funds, I mean, you're running out of funds, you don't have money in the bank, and you want your house to sell. Just imagine, to somebody who does not know Eckhart's teachings, it would be stressful, right? But for me, it was a lesson of surrender. Like, okay, if the real estate agent says, paint the house, get the paint done. If he says, stage the house, get the staging done. Now the surrender that I'm still looking for a job as well. So I cannot be home. I want to be home so that I have internet connection, but I cannot be home because they eject you out of your house, right? Like they want you to go stay somewhere where, so that they can show the house. So I would go to the library and keep looking for jobs at the library. So that's my tip for today, is look at all the events of your life as a sacred contract that you had with all these souls. Learn to forgive them so that you can free yourself. It is so liberating. It is so light. Like your whole being is so light when you can get to that depth of forgiveness, that depth of gratitude for all that happened to you, and that depth of knowing of that now you are already surrendered. So that's my tip for today. I'm hoping it helped. I like, it's like an hour-long audio session, and I've like compressed it within 10 or 15 minutes. So please go read the book, Sacred Contracts, if you are more interested in going deeper into it, because then she explains how the archetypes are and how we take on these archetypes, right? So the one thing, one interesting thing that I found in that book, and this is unrelated to where I started, you know, you may say, oh, and this is what she says too, I think, in the book. She says, you think that you don't have the prostitute archetype, but look, even Abraham had the prostitute archetype. I think he he was a wealthy man, and he went to Egypt, and then he told the Pharaoh that his wife was his sister, so that the Pharaoh would kind of forgive him and not like, you know, no harm would come to him. So she says even Abraham did it. So every person, whether it's Jesus or Abraham or anyone, they have that archetype. So just realize that, yeah, we have these archetypes, and that's what we are here to test. And then, you know, the fact that I love the mind-boggling fact that the archetype is just source energy. It's just forms of source energy, and source has, just imagine, split into these millions of energy forms, and then you're trying on, okay, now I'm a hermit, now I'm a princess, or now I'm a queen, or now I'm a slave, or now I'm this. So you're just trying on different types of archetypes. So like putting on different pairs of jackets, right? Or simultaneously, there are quite a few that are simultaneous. So with that, have a fantastic weekend. Happy 4th of July. It is close to 4th of July. And for people in Canada, happy Canada Day, which would be the 1st of July. Many blessings, much love. So grateful, so grateful for all the support and love that I've received. Take care. Thank you.